If you currently feel behind in life and think that you don't seem to be making any progress while everyone else is apparently getting their lives together, I get it, because I've felt that way multiple times too. Like, you're watching your friends get into school, get a job, get married, have children, and practically see their lives moving forward. But on your own end, life is just quiet. And now social media doesn't even make it any better, because you're scrolling through TikTok and everyone is just celebrating one milestone or the other. And suddenly it hits you that your life is not currently where you thought it should be by now. For most of us, this is the time when we start to feel resentful of our lives, and this feeling paralyzes our overall drive and motivation. From personal experiences, there are three main reasons responsible for this feeling of backwardness. I'm going to be sharing that with you in this video, as well as what you can do about it. The first reason is having a unidirectional perspective. 2 years ago, I was on maternity leave, and it was at that time that coincidentally everyone around me, including my friend, we were getting into residency training, some into specialty training, some of us were passing major exams and landing their dream jobs. And frankly speaking, at some point I was tempted to feel like my life wasn't moving forward like everyone else. But I quickly realized that in that brief moment when I was beginning to feel that way, I was making one big mistake, which is measuring my progress on just one metric of my life, which is my career. Having this kind of fixed unidirectional perspective on your life is similar to giving a cumulative progress score based on your assessment on one or a few areas of your life. So because you don't have the amount of money you think you should be getting from your business, then nothing is working even though you have a job. Because you're not in a relationship or even married, then your life is stagnant even though you have a thriving business. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? You see, this kind of mindset doesn't only make you feel like you're behind in life, you will perpetually be a sad person. Instead, what you need to do is to view your life as a whole. Imagine it as a garden with different plants growing at their own different pace. You don't go about destroying a garden or saying your entire garden is not beautiful or is not growing just because one plant is not growing at the pace you want it to grow. It could be that that one plant needs more nurturing. It could be that it needs more attention. It could also be that that's not the season for that plant to grow. And that's the beautiful thing about looking at your life as a whole. It's actually easier for you to identify that there are areas that are thriving and there are some specific ones that need more attention or need more work. And in that way, you're not just overwhelmed by this overall feeling of doom and sadness and backwardness. The second reason why you feel behind is due to something I call the dangerous equation. Very recently, I was speaking to one of my friends who was feeling really down and said she doesn't think anything good is going on in her life. And I asked her a simple question: what exactly makes you feel sad at this point? Is it because you genuinely cannot see any progress in your life, or because you cannot see any visible progress? And her response was that she couldn't see any visible, palpable growth or progress. She didn't just stop there. She went ahead to say, is it really growth if it is not visible? Have you really grown if you cannot see it? And therein lies the problem. A lot of people think that personal growth minus visible growth equal to failure, and that is a big error. Something I found very common is how some people want certain things not because they genuinely want those things, but because they like the feeling that comes from knowing that other people know they have those things. But what you might not realize is when you place more emphasis on loud visible growth over quiet victories, what you're invariably doing is outsourcing validation to people who lack insight into your personal journey, because they have no backstory, no reference point to fully understand that even though your victories, your achievements are not as loud as what is popular, they are still significant enough to be celebrated. Because for obvious reasons you don't celebrate those wins, you undermine them and feel like nothing good is happening in your life, which is a lie. So if you're caught up in this trap of feeling like growth doesn't count except it's visible, I want you to be more intentional about making notes of your silent wins. Basically do them privately and consistently. If you struggle with actually identifying areas you're making progress in, then posting it or showcasing it in some way, shape, or form defeats the aim, because eventually you're also outsourcing the validation of that particular growth to your likes or to how people interact with it. So basically, if you post it and people don't react in the way that you feel they should, automatically something connects in your brain that this man are actually what celebrating, what was the point of celebrating this? I don't want you to share it publicly until at least you've gotten to the point where it is deep-seated that this is definitely growth for you. They don't have to be big things, and it doesn't have to only be in areas of your career or your relationship or something very, very popular. Let it be things that are unique to you, something that signifies that you've gone from point A to point B in one way, shape, or form. Something as simple as I was able to stand up for myself in that meeting. I was able to say no without feeling guilty. I've been showing up for myself consistently even when I didn't feel like it. These are all things that show that you're growing as a person and you're overall becoming a better version of yourself, even though they're not visible. At this point, if you're getting value from this video and you're receiving some form of mindset update, please tap the like button. It helps the algorithm to show this video to many more people who need to see it. The third reason why you might be feeling behind in life is because you're adopting a generic life plan. At different ages and stages, the society has expectations of what you should do or what you should have accomplished. But one thing people always fail to understand is that it is practically impossible for everyone to achieve the same things at a certain time. Everyone's journey is different, and like I said previously, we are all growing at different phases. We all have our individual stories, we all have our individual backgrounds, we have our individual fights, and we are all pursuing different things. But when you focus on achieving what people think you should achieve instead of pursuing what you genuinely want to pursue, something that will make your life meaningful, you will realize that you're unable to meet that expectation, and it becomes the measure to which you gauge how much progress you're making. In reality, you could be doing something that is significantly beneficial to your life at that time, something that is in alignment with the kind of life you want to live. But because you feel you're not meeting the expectations people have of you, you then begin to think you're not making progress when you're actually making progress by the actual standard you should be upholding, which is your personal journey. So let me know in the comment section if you're currently feeling behind in life, or you felt so behind in life before. Which of these reasons do you think was responsible for that? And if you still feel like you're overwhelmed by the stage of life you're currently in, I recommend you watch this video where I shared a few tips to help you appreciate your personal journey and not feel pressured by societal standards. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.